So Casa Q was started because there is no shelter specifically for LGBT homeless youth in the greater New Mexico area. LGBTQ homeless youth are at very high risk for being assaulted on the street. National averages estimate that 40% of the homeless youth identify as LGBTQ across the country. They're also 3 times more likely to need mental health services. And so Casa Q was started to address this unmet need here in Albuquerque and in the greater New Mexico community. We serve youth from across the state, and we receive referrals from youth from across the state. Our youth may need homeless services because they have been kicked out of their homes. Maybe they're involved in systems of care. Maybe they are experiencing mental health needs. And so they come to us with a variety of needs, and we address those in our long-term shelter environment. We call it a home, not a shelter. And so a grant from Albuquerque Involved would really help us to continue to address the needs of our LGBTQ homeless youth. Some youth come to us because they're in foster care or they're juvenile justice involved. And when they're involved in those systems of care, often finding a culturally appropriate, a LGBTQ competent placement is very difficult for them. Our youth that have been involved in systems of care express that they don't often feel safe in traditional shelters. They may not feel safe or be able to express their gender identity or sexuality in a foster home. And so they come to us as a placement that can help them explore their gender identity and sexuality that is safe and that is affirming. And then other youth may come to us because their family is not accepting of their gender identity or sexuality and they have been asked to leave the home or kicked out of the home. And so those youth are truly homeless in a very traditional sense and are seeking a safe place where they can learn, grow, continue school, graduate from high school, go on to college, and also receive that safe and supportive environment as they explore their gender and identity and sexuality as an individual. So Casa Q is so desperately needed here in Albuquerque, and I think also in the greater New Mexico community because LGBTQ youth, one, they often go unidentified. They're not identified in systems of care specifically. Often if they live in small or rural communities, they will not self-identify. And we never want youth to be outed or to have to out themselves, but we do want them to be in affirming environments where they can explore their gender identity and sexuality. For many of our youth at Casa Q, coming to Casa Q is the first time that they've been affirmed as individuals and the individual that they are, that they've been able to share what pronoun they prefer people to use and have people use that pronoun, that they've been able to choose a different name, choose a different way to dress, choose a way to dress that reflects their true identity and gender. And feeling whole within yourself is really essential to growing into a formative adult. And so at Casa Q, we provide the opportunity for our youth to really express who they are completely and fully as they move forward into adulthood.